Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is
Shalom,
Brother Yabal, and I got my other brother with me. Go ahead, King.
shalom, brother Mathanya. Thank y'all for joining us. This is the third episode, and we got a good one for you for sure.
Khan. And Brother Asa will be joining us later. He had a couple things to handle this morning, but we're going to jump right into this. We started off with, what was it, Psalms 127,
Yes, sir.
and talking about watchmen, right? We're not going to read that one today because we're going to be a little strapped for time because we want to get to some stuff. Um, but Thanya, if you can go to Deuteronomy 28 and 54, I'd appreciate it, King.
Kind of one. Is it showing? Is it showing on the screen?
There it goes. It's showing.
Okay. Yes, sir. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate,
Hmm.
his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and
All
toward the
right,
wife.
stop right there, King. Stop right there. So we're talking about the nicest amongst us. It said the man that is tender among you and delicate. It's not talking about effeminate. It's talking about that man that loves his brother so much that he lay down his life for him. And what's he gonna do, King?
His eye shall be evil toward his brother.
So back in the day when we actually ruled our own kingdom, our own nation, we had brothers who loved one another. Their eyes were tender and delicate to one another, towards one another. They do for each other. But what's going to happen in this latter time when we are oppressed, when we have been enslaved, when we've been broken, is that we're going to have an evil eye towards our brother. And that's where we're at today. And we have to understand that because unless we decide that we are one people and we're going to fix our situation by loving one another, we're never getting out of this oppression that we're in.
That's right.
Because before Christ returns to gather us, we first are going to have to defeat this thing called a lack of brotherly love. You see, we have to come together. It says, "O nation not desired, gather thyself together." Am I right, King?
Right. That's right. That's right.
So we're going to have to do that thing. And that's why we're out there every weekend and bringing this word out, trying to tell our people that they are the children of Israel. They are the holy and the separate of the Most High God. Keep reading, King.
Con. And toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Okay. So let's go back up right here. It says, his eye shall be evil towards his brother. Number one, he's going to hate his brother. He'll rise up against his brother, want to slap the taste out of his mouth. And I'm not talking about just his blood brother. I'm talking about anyone who looks like you. You're waiting for the moment to make that brother look bad. You're waiting for the moment where you can make that brother feel like you're superior to him. So you're going to hate your brother, and you're also going to hate your wife. Now I want to stop right there for a minute because we get married and we swear that we love our wife. But the scripture just said when you're in oppression, you don't know how to love your wife. So what we're doing today is teaching you how to get to that point because you can't want to bring a woman into a situation where you cannot take care of her and call that love. When the Lord put Adam in the garden, he put things around him to make him sufficient. And that's what you have to do with your wife.
That's right.
You have to bring your wife into a situation where you can care for her. And Esau and the other nations are going to make that as hard as possible. So we're here today to show you how to get past some of the tricks they put in front of you. Okay. Now look at the last part of that. And toward the remnant, we're talking about having an evil eye. Going to have an evil eye towards your children, which he shall leave. Who's known for leaving their children? If it's not the black man, then who? How do you have an evil eye towards your children? Well, we're going to talk about today inheritance. That's one way you have an evil eye. Because give me real quick, and we're going to come back over here King, but give me where do I want to go? Give me Proverbs 13 and 22.
Yes, sir. One moment.
Some of us already had children before we ever took a wife. Some of us are going to have children at a later date. And some of us that already have children are going to have more children by a different woman. So we're going to try and get into all that today before we get into the budget. I know we promised y'all we were going to deal with a budget where a man was upside down today, and we're going to get to that. But I want to cover some things first because this is what you ought to be focusing on. Go ahead and read that, King.
Con, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 22. A good man,
What kind of man, King?
a good man.
So we're not talking about any man. We're talking about what a good man ought to want, what he ought to desire. Go ahead, King.
A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children.
So check this out. A good man, one that's trying to keep the commandments, one that loves the Lord, my God, he's going to, not possibly, not trying, he's going to leave an inheritance for his grandchildren. It says children's children. That's grandchildren. That means I'm gonna set aside enough that when I leave something to my children, it's gonna be enough left over because I've taught them how to handle it, that they're going to be able to pass it on to their children.
That's right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not only what you leave, but what you're teaching your children that matters. Keep reading, King.
A good man leave an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
So therefore, don't worry about everybody around you that seems to be doing better than you, but they're not living right. They're just accumulating that stuff so that you can get it if you're the just. See, you're going to be the good man, and in the end, you're going to win. Okay? Let's push that point a little bit further. Let's go to Proverbs 13 and 11. And can you get that for me in the NLT?
Con,
I want to show you something.
give me just a second.
So we're talking about people around you seeming to prosper, but the Lord's telling you that's actually your wealth they're bringing in. They're gathering it up from every place, but it's going to come to you in the end if you do what's right. So we're going to show you some of this.
In the NLT, out of one.
NLT, Proverbs 13 and 11.
All right, give me just 1 second.
Now, the King James says this: wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished. Now, I want you to see what vanity is in this context.
All right, Con. This is
Mhm.
the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, Salaki, and verse 11.
Mhm.
Wealth from get rich quick schemes quickly disappears.
So vanity in this context is get rich quick schemes. All these folks coming to you with multi-level marketing, or you got to get money for this, or you're going to go out there and sell drugs or anything, just anything other than work. Those are get rich quick schemes. Those things are going to disappear quickly. It didn't say you're not going to make money. The enticement part is up front, you're going to make money. But because you did not labor for that money, you're not going to appreciate it. Keep reading, King.
Wealth from hard work grows over time.
Wealth from hard work. What kind of work, King?
Wealth from hard work grows over time.
Now, you saw where we went in the first week, and we told you that God said, don't despise laborious work, right? Wealth from hard work grows over time. So you're trying to let this thing accumulate. And as it's accumulating, you are actually learning how to handle it. You see what I'm saying?
All right.
Let's go right now to where do I want to go? Let's go ahead and deal with inheritance some more. Let's go to Genesis chapter 21, verse 16. Before you go there, King, go to Genesis 49 and 3. I want to show you something there. Just thought about that. Genesis 49.
Genesis 49 and 3.
Con. So now we're talking about our father Jacob. Jacob is the progenitor of the Israelites. So his 12 sons became the Israelites, and we descend from them. And so before he died, he went on and talked to his sons and told them, gave them a future prophecy. So let's see what he says to his firstborn son.
Come on, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 3. Reuben, thou art my firstborn.
What is Reuben?
Thou art my firstborn,
Mm-hmm.
my might.
So
And
the firstborn son is the show of your strength or your might. God puts that son in that place. You did not get to select who the firstborn is. God did that. Doesn't matter how he turns out later, he's still your firstborn. Keep reading, King.
Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power.
So the firstborn is the excellency of your power. Okay? So this person represents you. And so you want to put all you can into raising them properly. You want to teach them the commandments. You want them to be able to go out and do this thing properly. So Deuteronomy chapter 6 says we're supposed to teach them when we rise up in the morning, we're laying down at bed, when we're walking in the street. Basically, it's saying everything you come across, when you see grass growing, you ought to be explaining to your son what the Lord had to say about it. You see what I'm saying? You're always tying things back to the scripture. So he's not, the world's telling them about science. The world's telling them about all kind of theories. You're going to dig into this word and be able to tell him what God said about it. Okay. Now let's go to Genesis 21 and 16. Let's dig into this inheritance thing. So your firstborn, that's to show your strength, your firstborn son. Now let's see what's supposed to happen in inheritance. Let's see how inheritance works. Because a good man gives an inheritance, lays up an inheritance for his children's children. Okay. So it's not just talking about wealth, but it's talking about what you teach them. So you're going to teach them in a way that they can handle the things that you give them. They can handle the things that are going to come at them later. And then the thing you're going to also leave physical things so that they can get started in life properly. We're good with that?
God, one.
So let's go to verse 16 real quick. Okay, so women, don't get stressed out over the first part of this, okay? Stay focused on we're talking about inheritance. Let's read this, King.
God, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 21 and verse 16.
Did I say Genesis?
Yes, sir.
That should have been Deuteronomy. I'm sorry.
All right, my bad. Let's see here.
Deuteronomy 21, and let's go ahead and start in verse 15. I wasn't going to do it, but we're going to start in 15.
Yes, sir. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verse 15. If a man have two wives.
If a man have what?
If a man have two wives.
Keep reading, King.
One beloved and another hated.
Okay, so we're going to put this in today's terminology for you, okay? Let's say a man has a woman that he had a baby for before. His baby mama. That's what we call him, right? Then he gets married later. Read, King.
One beloved and another hated.
Mm-hmm.
And they have borne him children. Both the beloved and the hated.
So the baby's mama is the hated in this situation, and the one that he's married to is the beloved. Keep reading, King.
And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated.
So the baby mama gave him a son first. Keep reading.
Then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the...
Okay, so check this out. What did it say, King? That he may not.
That he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated.
So in inheritance, the firstborn son, it doesn't matter who the mama is. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. It doesn't matter what she's taking you through. That's still the excellency of your power. That's still the show of your strength. And so the next born son or sons do not come before him in inheritance. Keep reading, King.
God one. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn.
What's he going to acknowledge the son of the hated for?
But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn.
And how does he do that?
By giving him a double portion of all that he had.
Do you see that? Do you see that? Doesn't matter about the status of you and that woman. Doesn't matter that you and her don't get along. That's still your son. This is how inheritance works. And then you wonder why some people die and have nothing. Just think about it. When you die, your soul is going to the Lord.
That's right.
Do you actually think you're going to die with the thoughts of not doing what the Lord told you to do, and you're going to die with stuff? The Lord has a way of taking it all from you. Do you see what I'm saying? Inheritance is very important. People kill over inheritance. Esau hated Jacob because Jacob got the right of the firstborn. Do you see what I'm saying? Esau said he was going to kill Jacob. Inheritance is important. Keep reading that, King.
Yes, sir. For he is the beginning of his strength.
What is the firstborn?
For he is the beginning of his strength.
And that has nothing to do with who the mother is. Keep reading, King.
The right of the firstborn is his.
Okay. So now it says the right of. That means it belongs to him. It says is his. So therefore, if you're planning on doing something else with it, you are wicked and you are a thief. And now you're talking about your soul going before the Lord? And you think you're going to gain the kingdom? It's not going to happen, bro. Once you lay down and you had a child with this woman, there are certain rights that child has. And you better believe there are rights. You don't have a right to change it. It's not yours. You have to realize that everything you got came from God, and God can take it away. Job said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Right? So let's go. Let's keep reading down. Let's go down because as a son, you have to do some things too. Because if we were in our kingdom, there was a way to make sure that this son didn't inherit if he was wicked. Watch this. Read on, King.
Con, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 18.
21 and 18.
Con, 21 and 18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son.
So if a man does have children, all this stuff about that's my child, I carried him 9 months. No, a man has children. If a man has, right? Keep reading, King.
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father.
Which will not what?
Which will not obey the voice of his father.
So therefore, if mama is telling you not to obey your father, we're gonna see what's supposed to happen to you. Keep reading, King.
Or the voice of his mother.
So if father is telling you not to obey your mother, we're gonna see what's gonna happen to you if you listen. Keep reading, King.
And that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then
keep
shall
on.
his Shalaki.
I said keep on, my bad.
Okay. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him.
Who's gonna lay hold on him, King?
Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him.
Okay, now let's look at why they're gonna lay hold on him. So if we go back up to verse 18, it says, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father and his mother going to lay hold on him. If he doesn't obey the voice of his father and his mother going to lay hold on him. What if they don't live together? Still supposed to obey both parents. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thou days might be long upon the earth which Lord thy God has given thee. Right? I'm stumbling all over my words. So when the child is stubborn and rebellious, both parents ought to get together and handle that situation. If you ever start pulling apart, that child is going to manipulate the both of you. Keep reading, King.
Then shall the father and mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place.
So there should be some chastisement for whatever this, if this son is stubborn and rebellious. You'd have told him what to do, and he's going to go do what he wants to do anyway. Keep reading.
And they, hold on, I done messed up. Hold on. And
Good.
Hold on. That was 21 and
You're 21 and 20 now. You're in verse 20.
all right.
Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 20 is where you're at.
My computer went back to Genesis. Verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Verse 20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious.
Okay, whose son is it, King? Read that again.
This our son is stubborn and rebellious.
Therefore, mama can't be saying I'm the mama and the daddy. It's our son, right? Daddy can't say you're just mine. That's not usually the case in our culture. The case in our culture is mama claims to be mama and daddy. Mama started pronouns before the lesbians ever started that, before the LGBTQ. That was right here in our community. I'm the mama and the daddy. No, you're mama. Read, King.
This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard.
Keep reading.
And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones.
Who's gonna stone him, King?
And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones.
The brother, because we love each other, we're gonna come together, we're gonna deal with you. That's what would have happened in our kingdom. I don't care if you're the firstborn or you're the eighth born. You be stubborn and rebellious to either your father or your mother. Doesn't matter that they're 90 years old, can't deal with you. We got some brothers that can't. Now, what Esau does in that situation, he puts you in jail. And there's some brothers and they're going to deal with you. Brothers want to come out like they were untouched in jail. They lying. I'm telling you. You wasn't bad up in there. Keep reading, King.
Hey, Salakia too, if I could, I'd have won.
Go ahead, King.
This is heavy, you know, and this is why, this is where that whole "who are you to judge me" doctrine is coming from as well, because like what the other one is bringing out here in our culture, this was an example, right, for this son to show to the others. This is what's going to happen, you know, if you're rebellious to your parents. Right, and it goes back to this scripture right here. I'm gonna get a quick precept right quick if I could.
Grab it, King. You want me to read it?
Yes, sir. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11.
Okay, let me get that real quick. I can't see my screen real good. 8 and 11.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm there. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
Right, and that's why we're wicked as hell as a people, man, because we don't think it's any consequences for our actions, or we think that we have time to get it together. I'm gonna be evil as hell real quick, you know, and get all this evil out the way. Then later on, the good gonna come around. It doesn't work like that. You know, it doesn't work like that. The angels are recording. The Most High sees what you're doing, and you have to fear God as if judgment is gonna come tomorrow. As if judgment is gonna come today, right? So this is heavy right here, because again, this was an example. Yeah, them other children saw this and was like, yeah, I better make sure I'm in line with my father and mother, because I don't want to be put to death. Right? I'm gonna read on Deuteronomy 21 and 20, 21 and 21. Salaki. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die.
What's going to happen to him, King?
that he die.
Just think about it. Today, if you go out there and commit a murder, you might get 15 years, 20 years, unless it was just really atrocious. They don't kill you. And in many states, they can't kill you. But if you were to just be rebellious or stubborn towards your parents, you were put to death. And we're gonna get right into the point that Mathania just made. It spells it out right here. Keep reading, King. What's the reason for stoning him to death?
Alrighty. So it says that he die, so shall thou put evil away from among you.
How are you gonna put evil away from among you, from the children of Israel? You're gonna take the stubborn and rebellious, and you're gonna put them to death. Keep reading, King.
And all Israel shall hear and fear.
So even those that weren't there to witness it, they're going to hear about it, and they're going to fear, and they're going to respect their parents. You see what I'm saying? See, you got to respect to get an inheritance. And if you respect and don't give an inheritance, God's going to deal with your parents. You keep your mouth shut. You don't get in there and tell them what they better do for you, because then you're stubborn and rebellious, and now you get cut off. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're going to stop on that part, dealing with inheritance, and we're going to get to a lot more of this in the coming weeks. What I want to do now, we had promised y'all that we were going to deal with a budget. So before we get to that budget, King, if you would, give me the definition of interest, and then we're going to go straight to, I'll tell you what, you go to Matthew 25 and 27, and I'm going to get a definition on interest and read it, okay?
Yes, sir. You want me to pull it up on the screen, I don't want?
Yeah, go ahead and pull Matthew up on the screen.
Okay, yes, sir.
And go ahead and read Matthew, and then I'm going to explain something real quick.
All right, and it's Matthew
25 and 27.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to see a word in this verse called usury, and usury just means interest. Interest is paid upon money. I'm going to read a definition for you. So I'm at I pulled it up on my phone. It says money paid regularly at a particular rate for the use of money lent or for delaying repayment of a debt. So let's say you put your money in the bank and they promise to pay you interest for coming to that particular bank, which means they're going to pay you every month a certain amount for the use of your money. Okay. Also, interest is let's say you have you go out there and you borrow money. Now they're going to charge you interest on top of what you borrow, and that's how they make money back off of you. Okay. All right. Read this verse for us, King. Matthew 25, 27.
Con, this is the book of Matthew, Saint Matthew, chapter 25 and 27. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury.
So we had read last week about the wicked and slothful servant, and he took his Lord's money and he buried it in the ground. And his Lord came back really pissed with him and told him, you could have put my money with the money exchangers and gotten me some usury. He said, you could have put that money in the bank and gotten me interest. And so he cut that wicked and slothful servant off because he didn't even have enough sense to do that. He was too fearful to do that. So that's a lesson from Christ on how to handle money. You always want money working for you. You don't want money sitting still doing nothing. Any money that money doesn't make, you got to go out and labor for it. You've already labored for money, and they have it set up so that you can make money with money. Okay? So that being said, let's pull the budget up real quick, King.
I don't want.
All right, so you might remember last week the budget we went over. This guy, at the end of everything, he had money left over. He had money to go into savings, and he had a category called miscellaneous, okay, so that he could do other things. And we promised you that we were going to come back with a different budget where this brother was upside down, meaning he did not have enough for his expenses, and start showing you how what he's got to do to work his way out of this, okay? Now you got to remember the scriptures say if a man won't work, he won't eat. Okay. So to think that you're going to borrow your way out from your brothers, that's not going to happen. Brothers going to get tired of that. Okay. So we're going to help you come up with a plan. So you got me there, King. I see it up there. Okay, at the top, just like before, we have the income. This guy brings home $2,800 a month. Okay. Now, if you look all the way at the bottom, it says difference, a negative $395. That's what he's short on, just on what we put in here, without any emergencies. He doesn't have a speeding ticket. He didn't have a tire he's got to replace on his car. So he doesn't have any emergency. This is just what he has plotted out. And if you look at it, we don't even have stuff in there like clothing. We try to make this very simple to go on, but if you look at it, he can't even make it from month to month. So right off the bat, you know this guy needs to get some more income, right? So he's going to have to get that part-time job, or if he's on a job where he can work extra hours, he's got to work those extra hours. Now, one good thing you have going for you if you're Israel is that we don't do these worldly holidays. So if you're at a company that is open on those days and they're looking for volunteers and they're paying time and a half, take it. What you want to be off on Christmas for, or Easter?
Right.
You want to be off on Passover, bro. You see what I'm saying? You want to be off for the Feast of Dedication. But you may not be able to travel and be with your brothers. So what you do on those days is you're going to jump on the live if they're having a live, and you're going to chat it up with them. You're going to call your brothers. They're going to call and check on you. And you're going to have to just do it that way. Don't get on the road and mess around and have something that happen to your vehicle and you don't even have the money to fix it. If you're traveling, you ought to have money. And I don't mean just money to travel. You ought to have money in your account, so when you get back, you can cover your expenses. Okay. The goal, what they mostly say is, we're gonna talk about what Esau tells you, because we already read that in their generation, they're wiser when it comes to money than the children of light. We read that last week. So they tell you ought to have 6 months of expenses put away. So that should be your goal. Okay. So if your expenses, like on this budget, comes up to $3,195, you got to multiply that by 6 and start getting to that as a means of feeling comfortable. Now, we already told you most of your expenses when you come to car repairs and stuff like that, they just throw $1,500 off the top. So you're going to have an emergency fund because you can't get to $18,000 right away. So your goal at first is to free up money. And then after that, you want to try and get $1,500 in the bank. We're good with that? All right, so let's look at this budget real quick. We're going to go down a couple of lines, see how far we can get. Right off the bat, this guy is not buying a house; he's renting. And we put the amount in at $1,200. Now, King, can you put up the first screenshot that I sent you? I want to explain something to you about this renting versus buying. Now, we told you last week that they're going to use a formula called a qualification ratio, and 28 to 30% of your gross they're going to use for you to qualify to buy a home. But I want to show you something about rent. Let me see. I can't see that. Let me pull the picture up on my phone real quick. Okay, I got it right here. So I don't know if you can see the writing. This is the average rent in Columbus, Georgia, is what it says. And this goes up to November 2023, if you look at the graph below. Now, right after under where it says Columbus, Georgia in the blue and white says rent price trends. Now, listen to this. I want you to get this. It says rent prices for all bedroom counts. So that's talking about whether it's a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom. And property types in Columbus, Georgia have decreased by 2% in the last month. That sounds good, doesn't it? But I'm going to show you why it's not good. And have increased by 18% in the last year. So think about what they really said. For the last year, rent had actually gone up 20%, but it decreased by 2% in the last month. So now they say over the last year, rent's up 18%. Your raise on your job was probably 2 to 2.5%, but your rent went up 20% because you locked in long before a month ago for the next year. 20%. During that time, gas prices went up, food prices went up, clothing prices went up. You can't keep pace. So if you were locked into a mortgage, your mortgage didn't go up. If you're renting from me, and let's say I didn't buy the house cash, I got a monthly mortgage, I'm charging you that mortgage amount, I'm charging you the inflation amount, and I'm on top of that tacking enough on for me to make money. So therefore, if I'm paying $700 a month rent, you're probably paying me about 18. If I'm if I'm paying $700 a month for my mortgage on that house, you're probably paying me $1,800. And so the first thing you want to say is, he's robbing me. No, he's not robbing you. I would be robbing you if I paid you $700, because you better believe there would not be one repair done to that place.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I have to charge you enough where I can make repairs and put money in my pocket.
That's
and
right.
I got to keep that place looking good enough, because my intentions are to leave an inheritance for my children's children. You're not my child. I love you. You're my brother. You're my sister. But I cannot let you take from my children. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, if I have extra properties and a brother needs to stay somewhere for 6 months or something like that, we'd probably work something out. You know what I'm saying? If I knew him, not a stranger. But if it's one of my brothers that I rock with all the time, I might be like, hey, bro, for the first 2 months, don't pay nothing. For the next 4 months, give me this amount. But we'd be tracking along the way to make sure that he's in a position to do that. You see what I'm saying? Or I might just take him into my own home for a little while. You see what I'm saying? But there would be a time limit. Does that make sense? But I want you to see that 20%, and that's why we read about interest beforehand, because now we're going to get into, we're going to read down and we're going to show you how this interest works against you. I don't want to talk about how it works for you yet, but I want to throw something out to you real quick. When you talk about finances, they gave us a game called Monopoly, and it works pretty much like that. You buy a house, and people come around the board, and every time they pass go, which is the end of a month, they pay you. You see what I'm saying? Every time they land on your property, they're renting from you. They pay you, right? You get 4 houses and you trade it in for a hotel. And it's pretty much that way in life. What you want to do, now just think about it. When you first started, you were in love with the money. And so you wouldn't buy nothing. You're going to hold on to that money. Then you find out everybody who bought the properties in the end win. Remember we talked about get rich quick schemes and how the person who works hard, they're going to win in the end? The person who has the most expensive properties in Monopoly wins. But you can own a lot of smaller properties and you can compete and you can stay afloat and you can keep earning money. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? For you, those of y'all who played the game, you need to play that game. Trade in 4 houses, get you a hotel. And it works the same way in life. You start off in a neighborhood where houses are not that expensive and you move up later. You see what I'm saying? All right, so let's go down the budget. So it's no different. We had rent instead of mortgage. Then we had the electric. We kept it the same because you still got a house over your head. Water, we kept it the same. Cable, $100. Now this guy is upside down. So the first thing we're going to do is say, bro, you don't need no cable. We're going to scratch that out. He don't need cable. So now we got $100 back on this $395 that he was negative on, right? So now we're down $295. Everybody agree with that? I'm gonna say you do. I can't hear you. All right. Then we get down to eating out. Now you remember in our last budget. Let me let Mathanya pull it back up. And stay on this budget. I'm gonna refer back to the last budget.
Come on.
All right, there we go. So we took cable at $100. We said we gotta cancel that cable. Whatever he got, Hulu, whatever, he don't need it. Cancel it. Okay. So now we're $295 in the hole every month instead of $395. Now the next line item is eating out. You remember the guy who had the home who had a good budget. His was called food or groceries. This guy goes to McDonald's all the time. So I did a little research and I got the average price for a Big Mac meal in Alabama. It said it's $10. I remember when it was $3.25. $10. So if you do that twice a day, that's $20 a day. If you do that for 30 days, that's $600. So that's where I came up with the $600. Now let's say he eats out 3 times a day. Now you got to add on to that another $300. You're talking about $900 a month you're giving to somebody else when you could have went and gotten you some rice and beans, because you don't need a $400 a month grocery bill like the guy who was in good standing. You get you some rice and beans, and you eat beans and rice and beans, beans and rice till you get on your feet. Every now and then, you get your chicken breast, you cut it up in there and increase your protein. You see what I'm saying? You got to look at it. You got to look at everything. You got to reduce that eating out. So now we can take that eating out. If we're going to do beans and rice and beans, what do you think, Mathanya? We can go down to 300 instead of 600?
Oh, yeah.
So now we're going to say that's $300. So now we're only down $95, okay? So now we say that's $300 rather than 600. That's your goal. Now we're down negative $95, okay? Now we get down to internet. We don't need internet because down further, we have a cell phone. You're going to have a data plan on your cell phone, and you do not go over your data plan. You can't afford it. You see what I'm saying? You probably can't afford unlimited data. You're going to go with some prepaid phone because right now your credit probably jacked up. So now we're going to get rid of that internet. So now we're only $45 in the hole. You see what I'm saying? Savings, you have none. You're upside down. Now this guy, one of his biggest problems what got him upside down. He went and bought a car, $400 a month, right? Mathanya, if you can pull up the next screenshot for us, I want to show something. Now remember, the last guy did not have a car payment, and you should not have a car payment. What you have to do when you are young and getting started, you have to buy a car, hopefully cash. If not, you got to try and find something that's, well, you need to buy something $1,500 if you can. If not, if you got to pay thousands, you're going to have to figure out a way you can do it and not be going out there and paying $30,000 for a car. You're going to have to go to a lot, but what's better is to get on Facebook Marketplace and find an individual that's selling. Take a brother with you that knows something about vehicles and let him help you in that purchase, okay? So let's look at this real quick. So this screenshot here says, what is the monthly payment on a $30,000 car? It says a $30,000 auto loan balance with an average interest rate of 5% paid over a 6-year term will have a monthly payment of $483. I only put $400 on this thing. Now watch this. The loan will cost $34,787. Now remember, the car costs you $30,000. But the interest, remember we talked about usury interest? $4,787. You're going to pay an additional $5,000 for this car. I told you last week, the moment you get a new car, when you drive off that lot, it loses 10% in value. Now you're upside down. So let's say you have a car accident. You lost 10% in value, plus you owe an additional $5,000. And that's why they're going to call your car total. So now the insurance is not going to pay that car off. They're only going to pay the current value on it. They're not going to pay that interest. So you're going to owe that and have to go get another car. That's why you can't get in that situation. You need to go find you something that's 5 years old, 6 years old, 7-year-old, something like that, okay? You can't be upside down because if something tragic happens, you still got to pay that money. All right, so let's keep going down. Now that you got this new car, you have to get full coverage auto insurance. So now your insurance is more than what it would have been had you had a car that was paid off. You want to get something you can pay off quickly, okay? Your gas is going to be the same. Now instead of auto repairs, you got maintenance. You got maintenance you got to do to keep the car up, keeping all that the same. Life insurance. This is very important, but you may have to cut that out for a while. Now, if you got it on your job, you keep it. You see what I'm saying? You really don't want to cut this out. But if you had to cut out something, that's in line of what to do. Now you got your cell phone, which you need. And then you get into credit cards. This is the debt you really don't want to deal with right here. Can you pull up that next screenshot, King?
Come out of one.
Now we're going to tell you something on this. So I gave you a Visa card and a MasterCard. On the Visa, you're paying $25 a month, and I figured that around $2,000 you own that. MasterCard, $30 a month, and we'll say that's $3,000. So we got you $5,000 in debt. So it'll go along with this screenshot, okay? So let's read this real quick. It says, how long will it take to pay off a $5,000 credit card? It says 1% of the balance plus interest. What does it mean by that? The principal, what you actually owe on the card, when you make that monthly payment, only 1%. If you only pay what they ask you to pay, only 1% of what you pay goes to that principal. The rest goes to interest. And we told you interest is the money that lender is making off of you. So it has nothing to do with paying down that debt. Okay? So it goes on to say you will pay off $5,000 in 285 months. That means it would take nearly 24 years to eliminate your $5,000 balance. Think about that. Let's say you went to the, let's say you went and got you some tennis shoes. You bought you a pair of Jordans. Let's say they were $300. You put it on a credit card. You're going to pay 24 years for some Jordans? It's not wise. See, you got to break it down in this context, and you can see, no, I can't do that. 24 years to eliminate your $5,000 balance if you only make minimum payments. During that time, you'll pay a total of $9,332.25 in interest for a total payoff cost of $14,332.25. You only borrowed $5,000. You're going to pay back $14,000. You see how these people get rich off of us? King, give me real quick Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. It's just popped into my head. Give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. Now, do you see how the nations get rich off of us? We don't know about money management. And so we're out there, we're playing checkers and they're playing chess. So now what we're going to do is put you're still on the same board. The checks and checkerboard look the same, but now we're going to give you the right pieces. And then we're going to tell you how these pieces move. And then we're going to go further and give you the strategy to win, okay? Go ahead and read, King.
God, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Where is he going to set you?
On high above all nations of the earth.
So the Lord said if you keep his commandments, he's going to set you on high above all the nations on the earth. Keep reading, King.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
So you're not going to be able to run from the blessings if you just keep the commandment. He's going to set you on high. He says these blessings are going to come on thee and overtake thee. Keep reading, King.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, blessed shalt thou be in the city.
So right now, we're cursed in the city. Every ghetto is filled with us, right? He said we can reverse that. Keep reading, King.
And blessed shalt thou be in the field.
We were cursed in the field. We were the one picking sugarcane. We were the one picking cotton. We were the one in those rice paddies. But he said that doesn't have to be that way. Keep reading, King.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy ground.
So the fruit of thy ground, didn't we tell you that when you're in Babylon, you're supposed to plant gardens?
That's right.
Did you do it? See, this is what it boils down to. He said, keep the commandments and you're going to be blessed. So we read you a commandment. He didn't say, if you feel like it, grow a garden. He said, when you're in Babylon, to grow a garden. That's a commandment. Did you do it? Examine yourself and see if you did. Because we're not on here for our health. We're on here to show you how God said get out of these situations.
That's right.
And so what you got to do is when you hear something, you got to act on it. Okay. Now I asked y'all to go out there and post to our Facebook page, put pictures of your garden. If you go out there, I share a picture of mine. I'm not just telling you to do something and I'm not doing these things are cutting me too. Okay. Keep reading, King.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Okay, go down to verse 8.
Verse 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses.
What's the Lord going to do?
The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses.
So check this out. The Lord is going to command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses. Where do we store our money now? In banks, right? In the stock market, right? Other investments like investment properties. That's our storehouses, okay? So the Lord's going to command you to be blessed in those areas, but you can't be fearful and not go out there and exercise what the Lord's telling you to do. Go ahead, read, King.
And in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So everything you set your hand to do, the Lord's going to bless you. So when you start going out there and now you're working on your budget, you're getting things right, the Lord's going to bless you in that. Okay. So you don't know a lot about it when you get started, but you're going to learn as you do. Same thing with gardening. Just get you a pot, put a tomato plant in there and let it go. Do what you can to it, read up on it, and then you're going to want to do more. Okay. Go back to the budget real quick, King. And just the things that we showed you, we almost broke even with the budget. Now, the guy's still upside down. Now I'm going to show you that the next thing you're going to have to do is put this stuff in a matter of importance. What is important to pay and what's not important to pay, okay? I did tell you that you're going to have to get some extra hours or a job. So while you're looking, let's say payments come due. You don't have enough money for everything. I'm going to show you what to pay and what not to pay. Okay. All right. There are necessities in life. You're going to need a roof over your head. You're going to need utilities, right? And you're going to need food. And you're going to need that transportation. And in today's day and age, if you're going to get another job or you're going to be called in for more hours, you're going to need your phone. So those things you cannot touch. You can't touch your auto insurance, right? And that's why I said life insurance, you don't want too much, but you may have to. Now, let's see where you're going to first start off. Those credit cards down there at the bottom, the Visa and MasterCard, you're going to call them. You're going to walk in integrity. You're going to tell them, I can't pay right now. I'm working on this. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll let you skip payments, but they're going to add interest on when you skip the payment, okay? And you want to walk in integrity because if you don't, they're going to jack up your credit. Now, even when you skip this payment, it's going to hit your credit. They're going to show you were 30 days late. There was a time when they were able to not do that, but I think all the credit card companies actually show it now. But you're going to fix that later, okay? What you're going to do right now is make sure you can make it from month to month. So those credit cards, you're not going to pay. You're not going to put credit cards in front of your rent. What's going to happen? They're going to scare you, try and scare you. They're going to have the collection agencies calling you, and you're going to mess around and pay out your rent money for some doggone credit cards. No, that's not what you do. You pay your rent, you pay your utilities, you pay your car note. Those credit card companies, did I tell you not to pay them? Yes, but I said you have to call the credit card companies and tell them, I'm looking for a second job. And in the meantime, I don't have the money right now to pay this. Okay. And in doing that, what's going to happen? They're going to stop the calls. All right. Now, what you're going to do as soon as you get paid, is you're going to readjust everything. You're going to look at your budget again, and you're going to pay everybody something when you get that second job. You see what I'm saying? As soon as, and this is where you can come in, and now you can call your brothers. Look, I got a job on top of my initial job. Here's my budget. Before I wasn't making enough. Now I have an excess of this amount. So you're going to put both budgets before them, show you have a plan, right? And now the credit cards and the credit cards, they're behind. And a brother may say, look, let's not let that go and mess up your credit. Let me pay that for you this month. Another brother says, let me send you this amount of money to make it to the end of the month. You see what I'm saying? But if you just go and you're borrowing with no plan, you're stuck borrowing every month, and it doesn't get you ahead. Do you know when we used to get married, our nation, the men in the city would come together and build your house, and we can do similar things now. When you get to that, so that your situation is right, the next thing you want to do is buy your house. You don't want to go out there trying to buy a house you can't afford. You go buy a fixer upper. Now you know a brother who has a truck and trailer. Got another brother who knows how to remodel. Got another brother who owns some tools. You see what I'm saying? And so then you get them all together, say, hey, can y'all help me fix up this house? And then in that, you're going to learn a trade. Then when you get the next house, you'll be the one actually able to lead the team. Now you're going to be paying people, but you'll know what to look for when you're going out there to purchase a home. Does that make sense?
I don't want.
Okay, we're gonna stop here today. Now y'all in for a treat next week. Next week, I'm trying to get it together where we're gonna get several of our brothers on, and we're going to talk about the businesses that we started, the jobs we had, how did we find the job, how did we know about it, how did we start the business, and because a lot of times what happens with us is you only know what you know. So if you're living in a community where we don't necessarily own businesses, you don't even know the steps to go about getting one. If all you see around you is convenience stores, those are only jobs that you know about. So brother's going to tell you where they work at, what they do, different jobs they've had, and then we're going to set it up where you can reach out to us and ask questions, okay? When it comes to filling out applications, you may have never done that before. When it comes to putting together a resume, you probably never done that before. We got brothers and sisters in this camp that have that experience. So we're going to get it set up where you can get in touch with us and we can talk to you behind closed doors. We can have group sessions and not actually tell exactly what people ask, but say, hey, we're going to do something on resumes this week. And then those who are interested come in and listen, okay? We have people doing all kind of stuff. Go ahead, King.
Slack out of one. So I missed this question in the chat.
Okay.
Because I was trying to go back and forth with sharing the screen and stuff. But I just put it on the screen. It says, if you want to address this, it says, what happens when the woman, this is something that we were discussing earlier. What happens when the woman takes your firstborn away from you and keeps you from him?
Okay. So we're going to address that more later on, but I'm going to say this right now. We were talking about inheritance. So even though she keeps that child from you, that has nothing to do with that child inheriting. You see what I'm saying? You're going to do your best to stay in touch, and we're going to address that later. I don't want to get into that right now. We're going to stay in the order that we're in. And I understand you have questions, and I'm going to ask you to send that question to our email, and we're going to address that next week, okay? Good with that?
For sure.
Well, no, you to put it up there. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay. So the woman takes the child from you. You got to remember, you're not in your kingdom anymore. You're in Esau's kingdom. So you got to look at the only thing you can do is get an attorney. You have two options. Once you get that attorney, the fighting really starts. The other option is you reach out to her, say, I want to be in my child's life, and then she's going to control that situation all the way. You reach out, you get an attorney, and you get visitation set up. Now, along with that is child support, which you're probably already paying. But that's the only thing you can do in this kingdom, bro. And she has the upper hand. The main thing you got to try to do with her is try and get her in the truth. so that she knows that what she's doing is wicked. And if you can't get her in the truth, she has the upper hand. You do your best and stay in touch with your child. You call your child. You can be the one to say, hey, I want him to have a cell phone, her to have a cell phone. I'll pay for it. And when it comes to having clothing and stuff like that, don't mail it. Take it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get into an argument with her. She's going to try and argue with you. Now, here's a and this is why I don't like answering these questions like this. The real question I would have to you is, why are y'all not together? Because you had a child with her. Did you leave her or did she leave you? And then if you left her, what was the reason? Because that might be what you need to fix. So it's not just what do I do if she keeps my child from me? The question is, why are y'all not together? Because if you slept with her, you're supposed to marry her. Is that clear?
Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent.
So the whole thing is, why are y'all not married? Did y'all get married when you say she left you? Did y'all divorce? Did she leave you, divorce you? Or did you never marry her? And when I say marry, you know, some brothers say sex is marriage. What I'm saying is, did you make it official? Did you make it official across all the boards? Did you go out there, talk to her father? Did y'all have a ceremony so she can actually show off her dress to her friends or whatever y'all gonna do? Did you have at least some kind of gathering where you're announcing this is my real? So that way her family's not saying, no, you're shacking up. See, she's getting pressured if you don't do it some kind of way where there's some type of ceremony. So she's saying, we're married. See, we're Israelites. And her family said, no, you're shacking up and I didn't raise you that way. You see what I'm saying? So you got to realize you're in this land. And the Bible says, go ahead to Hebrews 13:4 while we're on this. And we're going to cut this off in 3 minutes.
Hebrews 13:4.
Hebrews 13:4.
God. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 13. And verse number 4, it reads, marriage is honorable in all.
What is marriage, King?
Marriage is honorable in all.
So now we have a definition of marriage and saying that it is honorable in all. And doesn't the Bible say we give honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel? You're not honoring her if you don't get in front of her family and friends and announce that that's your wife. She's going around telling everybody you're her husband. They're like, we wouldn't invite no wedding. They don't know nothing about our customs. So you can keep it as a date and say, I slept with her on February 12th. That as of that date, that was my wife. What's wrong with y'all coming together and bringing the families together and making it official in their eyes? Is that a sin? No, it's a good thing to do so that her family has respect for you. You don't want her father every time you're not around telling her, leave him. He ain't no good. He just playing with you. That's not honoring her. Keep reading, King.
God. And the bed undefiled.
So the marriage bed is undefiled. When you're married to a woman and y'all are sleeping together as y'all should be, that's the right thing to do. That's what she has you for. That's what you have her for. One of the things, okay? Two are better than one, so when one falls, the other can lift them up. Keep reading, King.
But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
So what's God going to do with whoremongers? A guy jumping from woman to woman?
But
because you got to remember, we're talking about men right now. Keep reading, King.
But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
So therefore, I have to ask you, when you say she took your child and ran, were they ever in your house? Was she ever your wife? In the sense that she's living under your roof, you're teaching her these scriptures, and you're taking care of her. That's where I got to start. Because you got to remember, God created Adam first, and then he gave him a wife. Adam had a job before he had a wife. And a lot of times we do this out of order and we say, she took the child from me. Bro, when did you ever have her and the child in your house? A lot of times we're just running around sleeping with women and we're going back home to our house. They go back home to their parents' house. And then we say she took them. No, she didn't take them. You left them. Back to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we're going to end after this. Back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse, where do we start at?
54.
54. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28, 54. Let's see what the Lord says here.
Con. This the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother.
What is his eye going to be?
His eye shall be evil toward his brother.
Okay, stop right there. I want you to back up, go to his eye shall be evil toward, and then I want you to drop down. You know what I want in the same verse.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Verse.
Got it? Same verse. His eye shall be. I'm gonna read it because I'm gonna read it. Let me read this.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to leave anything out. I'm trying to focus on what we're talking about. It says, his eye shall be evil toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
That's right.
Said shall leave. And so if they were never under your roof, she didn't take him from you or her from you. You left them. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you got to start off trying to fix, because you got to remember that's supposed to be your wife. Now, this one, and a lot of brothers tell you, I'm not saying you got to go back 17 years before you're in the truth. I agree with that 100%. But if you want to know how to fix it, I'm telling you, if you want to fix this thing, then you're probably going to have to pursue her as your wife, because that's what she's mad about. I know this is a hard lesson, but I'm going to tell you the truth. That's what I'm here for. See, she's got to now handle all the burdens. When she goes to work, guess what that child is doing? That child is now running the household. So everybody's role changed but the man. The man went off and he's still having fun. You see what I'm saying? So when things get tough, she's mad at that man. It's a hard thing to face, but that's what we've done. Look, I'm speaking from experience. I've been there. I've done that. And so you can learn from me and fix those situations.
That's right.
But one thing you cannot do is cut that child off, regardless of the relationship that y'all have. Now, if that child want to be stubborn and cut you off, we read about that. But don't cut that child off. Go see that child. Be friendly to that woman. And if she wants to curse you out, don't stand in front of the child cursing back. That might be a day you just need to walk off. Don't behave like her. That's what you do. Don't go speaking negative about her to the child, because I'm going to tell you something. The one that's feeding them, that's the one they're going to believe. You can tell everything you want. Everything you say could be true, but they are going to go with mama. All right? So we're going to kind of end it right here. I wanted to end it on finances. So don't forget the finance part, because you're going to need that to be able to go see those children. You're going to need that to be able to take care of the children. That's it. No, this was good. I'm glad that question came up. I was going to walk away from it till later. I want to talk to the brothers about it, but we're going to, I guess we'll go ahead and, if they come up, we'll deal with them, King. That's what we're here for.
Hey, this was excellent out of one. I know I was edified. I'm hoping y'all were edified as well, and we appreciate y'all taking part of your Sunday to come join us for this edification, and we appreciate the guidance as well out of one.
Hey, our Facebook is Iron Horn of Zion. Okay. Share with us some of those pictures of your garden. I don't care if it's one plant. Get something started. Let us know that we're not just teaching to the wind, preaching to the wind. Okay. Let us know that you're acting on what we're saying. All right. Hey, my daughter and her husband and my grandbaby, he 10 months old. They pulling up, and I'm telling you, that's what you want to see. You want to see them grandbabies. I got 3 now. I got twin girls. I think they're 12 years old. But my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter, she's got a 10-month-old, and now I gotta get these 3 boys married off. So some of you ladies gotta get right, okay? Y'all gotta get right so my boys can get married. One of them already got one. I think he's gonna be getting announcing something real soon as she graduates from high school and stuff. And the other 2, we gotta get them somebody. So we need some righteous ladies. And I'm not saying the boys are perfect, but what I'm saying is I'm putting in the effort. Okay.
That's right.
All right. I'm not perfect. I'm putting in the effort to change me. These classes for me too. Love y'all.
Hey, we
Cool,
love you.
Dr. Rob.
Kwame Asala.
All right, King.